Do y'all remember that conversation we had about Walmart trying to tell China that they had to pay for their tariffs, or at least maybe possibly meet them in the middle, or Walmart wasn't going to be able to buy as much stuff from them, or Walmart was going to have to charge more stuff in their stores that we were going to go purchase? We had that conversation. We also talked about Costco doing the exact same thing, how they were trying to find ways around these tariffs that are going into place. And a lot of these tariffs are going into place today, April 2nd, right? Now, Target has decided, you know what, let me jump on this bandwagon. And now Target is trying to play hardball with China when it comes to the tariffs that they are paying for the things they get. Now, Target does not have a single store in China. Not one single store is in China. They are all here, but they buy a lot of stuff from China, which is kind of the whole point behind these tariffs, so that manufacturers and customers and businesses will stop relying on overseas products and hopefully bring some more purchasing power back here to the good old US of A. Well, Target said, no, we're not going to do that. They are pushing Chinese suppliers to absorb some of the costs of US tariffs, following in the footsteps of retail giants like Costco and Walmart. Now, I consider Target a retail giant as well. Obviously, Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club, Target, BJ's Wholesale, I think is considered a giant, right? I don't really know if like a Walgreens and a CVS and places like that count as a giant, but a lot of times when you're thinking of the places that you're going to be able to go to purchase a lot of things at once, whether it's household goods, it's clothing items, it's baby items, it's food, it's stuff for your car, for your pets, whatever, a lot of people will take into consideration Target, Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club. I think those are the top four that a lot of people shop at. And those top four are going to be, I want to say, like the worst hit by these tariffs that are being put into place today, April 2nd, 2025. But their purchasing power really should not have them raising prices the way a lot of people are worried about. There is no reason that the prices should go through the roof for us. So the tariffs on Chinese goods, again, set to increase today, and a lot of retailers are worried about it, so they're trying to figure out how to offset the cost. Now, a Chinese supplier of hairpins, this is what's funny to me. This Chinese supplier, hairpins and claw clips. Now, I don't have any claw clips in my car. I don't know if this is considered a hairpin or not. Don't mind me while I rummage through my crap. My daughter uses these to hold her hair out of her face while she's doing her makeup, right? And I use them every once in a while. They're not my favorite, but they're not bad. I have a tendency to break these things. Again, I don't know if this is considered a claw clip. It's definitely not a, no. This is a claw clip. What's the other thing I just said? Can't remember the word. Either way, these things are the kinds of things that they are worried about. And Target is asking that they pick up half the cost on tariffs so they can continue ordering things like this and the claw clip things. Oh, I do have one. Look, the random things you find in a female's car. Claw clip, these things here. So I have I'm assuming hairpin and claw clip, unless we're talking bobby pins. I don't know. My hair's in a bun 99% of the time, whatever. But these kind of things are massively popular. They're all over stores. They're in like Five Below. You can find them at Dollar Tree. Everybody's ordering them from Amazon and Temu and Shein and stuff like that. And Target wants to be able to continue selling stuff like this. So they're asking the Chinese supplier of said hairpins and claw clips to absorb the cost of the tariffs, or at least, some of it, so that Target can continue ordering these. Because the companies in China have to take into consideration that if the US companies stop buying from them because they don't want to pay the tariffs, the Chinese companies aren't going to be able to sell their products, so they also aren't making money. So at the end of the day, sometimes, biting the bullet or sucking one up or whatever, or letting your ego go. I don't really know the right phrasing here. Letting the 50-50 deal happen is probably a very good idea for a lot of these Chinese suppliers if they want to continue having things purchased, because according to Target, they said that after attempting to negotiate, the supplier saw delays in their order and ultimately lost the business. Target has not responded to multiple requests for comment. This is an article that I read on Yahoo Finance about these claw clips and hairpins. And Target, put a boot on the neck of the Chinese supplier. It's like, listen, I don't want to pay the tariffs on this. I want these things in our stores, and you guys want to be able to sell these things, so you're going to have to work with me. They basically gave them an ultimatum, and the Chinese company didn't fall for it, But in the end, it hurt them because now they're sitting on a bunch of these things that Target's no longer buying. So Target, I'm sure, instead of not selling any of these, they're going to find a different supplier who will be willing to either split the cost of the tariffs or eat the tariffs completely. Or maybe if we're lucky, Target will say, hey, you know what? How about this? Let me just buy American made. It might cost a little bit more. And that's where the issues are going to come in. It may cost them more to purchase these, and then the cost will, of course, rise for us as consumers inside the store. But at the end of the day, as a consumer, you have to ask yourself, what's more important? Things being cheaper or things being made in the USA? It's going to depend completely on every individual. Some people will say made in the USA is the most important, but I'm going to assume it's because they have the money to purchase made in the USA, knowing that those products are going to be more expensive. Other people will say that cheaper is more important because they don't have the same means and ability to go out and spend more money on the exact same type of product just because it's made in the USA. It's going to be a massive difference between, and I hate this phrase, the haves and the have-nots. That's what it feels like when we're sitting here talking about tariffs and what it's going to mean for the purchasing power of the citizens of the United States. Now, there's a 20% tariff on all Chinese imports currently, right? But they said that impacts like $430 billion of goods that come in. Target does not operate any physical stores in China, which we talked about, but says it has worked to reduce its reliance on Chinese imports, cutting the share of its goods from China from 60% to 30%. So when they're already down to 30% and these Chinese companies are saying, no, they won't meet them halfway with the tariffs, no, they won't absorb the cost of the tariffs, that 30% could easily dwindle down to 15, 10, 5, maybe even to 0. Now you have to ask yourself, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to be then made in the USA or purchased in the USA. They could go outside of China. They could go to India. They could go to Indonesia. They could go to Brazil. I don't know who else makes a bunch of things, like where the most manufacturing is, but they could easily go outside of China to make their purchases. Now there's going to be tariffs in other places too, but you would think that maybe some companies or some countries see what is happening with China and the tariffs and they say, hey, listen, we'll figure it out. We'll eat the tariffs. We want to make the sales because we want our businesses to continue on. You just never know. What's crazy, Costco only operates 7 warehouses in China, which is a lot more than Walmart's 330 locations in China. Unlike Target and Costco, though, Walmart has faced criticism from Chinese authorities who have called its strategy unfair and irresponsible. Again, we talked about them already, how they were like, listen, you have got to eat the cost of these tariffs because we are your biggest purchaser and you don't want to lose our business. And again, it's a threat to China, right? But it's also a threat to Walmart if China says, no, I'm not going to eat the cost of the tariffs. And then Walmart either has to still make those purchases from China, basically put its tail between its legs and say, okay, fine, we'll pay the tariffs because we want the products, knowing good and damn well that the majority of things inside a Walmart location are not made in the USA. They are imported from China, Indonesia, Taiwan, all these other places. They rely on those countries for the bulk of their goods, where in the beginning of Walmart with Sam Walton, that was not the case. It was supposed to be made in America for Americans. That was the whole premise behind Walmart until unfortunately he died and things have kind of gone downhill from there, which we talked about a couple days ago. Now, one of the interesting things to me in the article that I was reading on this Target tariff war with China, the Target CEO, Ben Cronell, I'm messing up his name. I already know I am, and I don't feel like pulling up that article again. I'm pretty sure it's Ben Cronell or something like that. He says that unfortunately, the cost of these tariffs are going to pass on to the customers, you know, in the form of maybe the bananas and the avocados and the strawberries. And I'm like, explain this to me like I'm 5, right? Like explain to me how it could be such a massive uptick in price on bananas, avocados, and strawberries that it would cripple the U.S. economy, because I'm very curious. So, of course, I did a little research to figure it out. Now, the U.S. imports a significant portions of its bananas, because I only asked about bananas and avocados, from Guatemala, Costa Rica, and Ecuador in Central and South America, rather than Mexico or Canada. So in theory, we should be perfectly fine, because the tariffs that are going to hit Mexico, Canada, and China, if that's where we're getting bananas from, there's no reason why Target should be upping the price of bananas, okay? So just let's all pay attention to that, number one. But even if there's a 25% tariff on bananas, let's say 25% tariff on bananas, that means that they are paying, let's say a case of bananas that you import is $100, right? A 10% tariff adds $10, obviously, and 25% tariff adds $25. So now that case goes from $100 to $125. Now, importers typically pass the cost onto retailers, who then pass it on to consumers. It's the way, or the cost of doing business, right? Because transportation, distribution, retail markup within the US, it's not taxed. Now, estimated price increase. This is what I thought was crazy. Assuming a banana's import value is about 20 cents at the border and it retails for 50 to 70 cents here, a 25% tariff could add 5 cents to the import cost. 5 cents. Personally, I don't think that paying 5 cents more for a banana is going to destroy the economy here in the US and turn people off of eating bananas and avocados and whatever else. Now, that's if Target and places like it only impose the smallest amount of increase that they need to. Now, we know how a lot of these corporations work, and they see the fear and the scare and the whatever that is being pumped out through the country about these tariffs, and they decide to jump on it and go, you know what, instead of 50 to 70 cents for a banana, let's charge 70 cents to $1 per banana, knowing good and damn well that that's not how much the tariffs cost them. But we've seen over the last couple of years how these companies are also making hand over fist profit at the same time that we are paying ridiculously high prices for everything, but being told that it's necessary because of the cost of labor has gone up. The cost of transportation has gone up. Now the tariffs have gone up, all these different things. And we're supposed to believe that that has caused a 50 to 100% increase on things, when we can clearly see that if things are tariffed at an extra 25%, that should be a nickel, maybe a couple dollars, depending on exactly what it is, not these massive exorbitant hikes in prices that we have seen and will see. If you go to Target and you check a banana price today and it's 50 cents, if you go back to Target in 4 months and that same banana is $1.25, please understand Target is bending you over and taking your money from you when they do not have to, because a lot of people don't stop and think about it. Normally I wouldn't, but because this is what I do all day, I look at these kind of things. I look at things differently now, and I see things differently now than I did 4 years ago even, right? So I just think it's crazy that there's so much talk about, you know, Target and Walmart and Costco and places like that, and these tariffs and how it's going to cripple our economy and hurt the people. And I'm like, you guys, you don't have to though. And that's what's crazy. Now, off topic, but still on topic of Target, they just got sued by the state of Florida. Last Thursday, they were hit with a lawsuit by the state of Florida, which accused a retail giant of hiding the risks tied to its diversity, equity, and inclusion, basically DEI efforts. The state claims these initiatives sparked a customer backlash that erased billions of dollars from Target's market value. You want to know why that's important? How many companies are invested in Target, invested in Walmart, invested in Costco and Tesla and places like that, and their 401k. And then when these things are happening, these tariffs are happening and people are scared about stuff, or DEI stuff happens and people boycott Target, or people are now harming Tesla, or they're boycotting Walmart and Costco, it makes their stock prices plummet. You know what that does to your 401k? Puts it in the trash. It is a crazy circle of how things work. And so the state of Florida, which I was surprised about this, but the lawsuit was filed in federal court in Fort Myers, Florida. It was brought by the State Board of Administration of Florida, which is the agency responsible for managing public pension funds, which hold Target stocks. Now, this is what Florida says, and they probably will not be the only state to sue Target. Florida alleges that Target misled investors and alienated its core customer base by making false and misleading statements in its financial reports about its DEI and environmental, social, and governance, the ESG mandate. The lawsuit also targets Target CEO Brian Cornell. I was close. I called him Ben Cornell or Ben Connell. I was very close. Accusing him of downplaying the scope of customer boycotts following the company's Pride Month campaign in May of 2023. You guys may remember May of 2023, the Pride Month campaign, where it seems that everything started going downhill from Target. That, I believe, was the same year that they came out with the tuck-friendly children's bathing suits, which did not go over well at all with people. When 99% of your customer base does not agree with or believe in stuff like that, and only 1% possibly does, and yet you market the entire month of Pride to that 1% and alienate that 99%, it's going to have a massive financial impact. And the Target numbers have been dropping steadily since May of 2023. It says here that the state claims these boycotts contributed to a prolonged decline in Target's share price. Now, what's crazy is, again, it is affecting people's 401ks. So the same people that are supposed to be retiring and able to live off their 401ks or do all these other things in this year and the coming years, they are missing a ton of money that has just been wiped away over the last couple of years because of, we're going to say, the DEI stuff, because of the way media and social media has affected people's thoughts on certain companies and the backlash to those companies. A lot of things affect the stock price. And most of the time, it's not even the actual market value of stuff. It is the perceived image of a company, right? Tesla, for example, Target, obviously, for example. It's just very interesting what's going on with Target right now. And I am curious to see what is going to happen with them over the next coming months because of the tariffs, because of this lawsuit, because of the end of DEI and all these boycotts. That could mean closure of stores, which is ending jobs for a lot of people. It's going to be a very dicey couple of months for these bigger corporations right now. And it's something to keep in mind when you are going out and making purchases or deciding how to pay for things or save your money versus not save your money, invest in things in the stock and stuff like that. So make sure you guys are paying attention to everything that's going on, because it all does go together to affect your money at the end of the day. Yeah, I think I had one more thing I wanted to mention to you guys here. Let's see if I have one more. Nope, that was it. That was it. I love you guys.